Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, pop up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I know karate, I know jiu-jitsu, I drive like a gangster when I'm coming to see you, see you.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Not to be a backseat driver, but can you say for sure you got the best monthly payment possible on your auto loan? Could it be that you might have gotten a better deal by shopping the loan at a few places and have a lower car payment? Next time, before you go car shopping, visit Communication Federal Credit Union first. Our auto loan experts will find you a perfect loan and get you the lowest monthly payment we can. Communication Federal, your auto loan experts. Restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
I am Conor McGregor, multiple weight MMA champion. I'm a fighter and I've been through many battles in the octagon. Many consider my fights in the octagon heroic, but the real life heroes are those men and women who fight to protect us every day. The real life fighters, the real life heroes, are the firefighters and police officers. These first responders are true heroes because these brave men and women put themselves in the line of danger every single day protecting us all. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation ensures that first responders from fire, EMS and police departments who are killed in the line of duty with young children have a home without the burden of a mortgage. They are my heroes. They need our help today. I'd like to ask you to join me in donating $11 a month to support their efforts. Your $11 a month honours and supports our first responders. Please call now at 1-844-BRAVEST or visit tunneltotowers.org.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of The Cocktail Lounge. I am your hostess with the mostest, Aggie, and with me, as always, is the ever suave, affable, and quaffable co-host of mine, Brad Slager. How are you doing this evening?
Well, a little bit tough right now, but getting through it. Been a frustrating series with the Rangers.
Yeah. The hockey thing going on. Yeah, that's true.
The playoffs.
The hockey thing.
It's kind of like I called this series. I said these two teams are almost dead even, and pretty much every series has been. The last two games both went to overtime.
And so the Florida Panthers are playing who?
New York Rangers.
New York Rangers. Okay.
Yeah. The Broadway Pussies.
And the other two teams are?
Dallas and Edmonton.
Okay. So we must cheer on Dallas, if only to get them Canucks out of the running for the Stanley Cup.
Well, I know people are saying that, but if I had okay, but I think if I had my choice, I'd take Edmonton because I think we can neutralize the offense, and their defense is suspect. Their goalie is weak. That would play into our hands. But
okay.
Dallas has a hot goalie right now. Ottinger's been playing sharp all the playoffs, and
yes,
it's been it's been a fun series for the most part. We're down 2-1, and we're losing 1-0 right now, but both games have been able to go either way. I mean, the last game, Panthers dominated as far as spending time in the offensive zone, shots on goal, that kind of thing. And then the Rangers literally had a lucky goal in overtime. I mean, the guy that scored, quote unquote, he was just in front of the net and it hit the shaft of his stick and deflected to the side and went in. And not the kind of thing you can really count on, but that's the way it works. That's why you get in front of the net. So,
well, I'm rooting for Florida, obviously. Got to root for my co-host's team.
Yes, you got to. It's mandatory.
Yeah, I kind of have to. Yeah, I mean, I would love to have rooted for everybody else's teams, but this is the guy I have to deal with, so I'm gonna root for his.
Exactly, deal with it.
But anyway, hopefully that they'll pull out a win during this game. That would clinch an almost perfect day for you because I hear someone is finally in town visiting her grandpa.
Yep. The little Puerto Rican princess has returned. We got her for the summer, so it's already going to be a blast. She's been running me through the ringer. She just got in yesterday, and of course, it's been nonstop acting. But
of course,
it'll be fun.
I'm so excited.
All kinds of swimming, all kinds of reading. We're going to be just doing a little bit of everything. And she's out of school, but we still have 2 weeks here, so I've got her in the daytime.
Oh, boy. You still have 2 weeks? Holy crap.
A little bit like that. I think it's like a week and a couple of days, I want to say, something like that. But
that's ridiculous.
No, she's also fairly self-sufficient and just, every so often she's like, you need to take a break now. Like I get that kind of thing. Oh, really? Okay. But she's at the point where she can occupy herself. Like for a while today, she just arbitrarily decided, I'm going to get the coloring book out and start doing that. And asked me to plug her headphones into the tablet and get her going. It's like, knock yourself out, kid. I got to go do a podcast while you're busy. So that's the kind of thing you just got to work on timing of everything.
Well, I'm sure that she's going to have a blast during the summer. She has missed her grandparents so much, I'm sure. So it should be nice and fun. I can't wait to talk to her. I know. Here's Aggie. I can't wait to talk to her.
Yeah. Well, let me know your schedule tomorrow, and I can put you two on the phone, and then I can probably go get work done for an hour or two.
Wow. I see what you did there, and I cannot refute it. I have no defense of that.
Nah, it'll be fun. It'll be fine. We're all good. So, how's everything on your side? What have you been doing? Anything major going on?
Nope, it's been very placid here. We had a very sudden thunderstorm rolled through last night, so that was kind of surprising. It seldom rains this far south in Texas. So I kind of expected Mom. She's got a sixth sense about these things. And I thought she might actually call me today to ask if it had rained, but she didn't. I'm like, I wonder what's going on. Well, it turns out one of my cousins is in the hospital. So she's been a little preoccupied with that. But no, everything's been pretty cool here. I expect to be home sometime next week, but I'm not sure. It's still fluctuating. It depends on my sister's schedule. Her daughter's going in for surgery too. So, and it's her only child. And of course she's going to be like verklempt, as every parent, freaks out. So, but it's just,
Sure.
she has a growth on her shin. And so she's going to have surgery on her leg. And, then they're going to take, do a biopsy on the growth and everything. And they're pretty sure it's just a cyst, but a benign growth. But apparently it was bugging her enough because, she felt self-conscious wearing dresses. And I'm like, I couldn't even see it. But, it's not me. It's her. She's 21 years old. So of course she's going to see everything. I couldn't care less. So
I know how that goes. Well,
Yeah.
it's kind of, I had another Texas primer because last night we contacted Lou's parents, let them know that she got in okay and all that. And they're like, yeah, we're getting ready for hail here.
Yeah, the DFW had a really rough night with hail. And then this morning they had tornado warnings all over the place. And apparently a couple did touch down, according to my brother. So, and the weird thing is, my brother, when he was working for the city, put down my parents' emergency contact information, my parents' phone. Well, my parents have a home line, a landline. So the warning came from Garland to our landline. And it woke me up this morning, like at some ridiculous hour. I was not a happy camper. I'm like, what are they doing calling here? But so of course that necessitated I call my brother, make sure that he was okay, and he was fine. But he did witness the funnel forming, and that kind of freaked him out because it was not far from his house. And when he looked up in the tracker, it was about 1/10 of a mile from his house where it was located. So, but it did not touch down. So that was a good thing. However, they did have some rough spots this afternoon. And I think our friend LL also had some damage to her home. And I believe Musket from Twitter, he did as well. So it has been a rough couple of days.
It was kind of interesting, just the fact that they said hail was like definitively going to happen.
Oh yeah, no,
because like here in Florida,
they tell you it's coming.
It's very infrequent here. And the question in Texas is, how big was it? So,
pretty much, yeah.
I checked with them today. I was like, I didn't even say, did you get hail? It was like, so how big was your hail? And they're like, well, not quite softball size. It was like, oh, so golf ball size? We're like, yeah, that would be the way to do it. So they were scrambling last night to get their cars under cover. And it's just, it floored me a little bit that it wasn't, maybe it's going to happen. It's like, well, no, we're going to get hail. It's just going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was, it's very predictable around here. And, now that I live in North Texas, I was checking in to make sure that things were going okay over there. And yeah, things are fine. There was a lot of, debris, like limbs, broken limbs, a couple of branches fell or something like that. And, but nothing major. And then I went to look at the lightning map. It was all over my acreage. All these little thunderbolts where they recorded lightning strikes. And I'm like, oh my God, we could have had a fire. And of course, I was told to calm down.
Well, yeah, lightning is something we deal with here.
Yeah. So
I think Florida leads the globe in lightning strikes.
I believe so. Yeah. Florida.
Hence the name of the Tampa Bay hockey team, in fact.
Yes.
They come by it honestly. But well, enough about the weather. There's all kinds of other shady things going on.
Lots of shady shit going on.
I'm going to start here just because I think, it fits our show content-wise as well as being batshit crazy, which also applies to the show. There's another occurrence taking place on a regular basis that people are experiencing across our fair country at this moment. And I suppose it happens down here by us. I don't know that I've experienced it directly, so maybe it doesn't, but other parts of the country are inundated, including the Chicagoland area, apparently. And this is what I have been baffled by. And I think I blame this on the World Economic Forum, their desire to get us onto alternate protein sources, let's say, as euphemistically as possible.
That has been a push for several years now, and
the cracks me up is how they deny it, though. Oh, no one's saying that. That's a bunch of conspiracy theory from you conservatives. It's like, okay,
there
I'm
are
sorry.
Receipts everywhere.
Yeah.
Receipts everywhere.
I'm
Video
reading
clips,
your actual
audio clips.
transcripts of speeches at your damn event. So sorry. Not sorry. Just I've got it in front of me. Okay. But this, I think, is not the kind of inspiration we need. A suburban brew pub in the Chicagoland area goes all in on the cicada craze with a cicada-infused malort that they're brewing.
I just can't.
They're making beer out of bugs, you dumbasses in Chicago.
Here we go again.
And
okay,
this is this particular brand that they're selling at the Noon Whistle Brewing in Lombard, outside of Chicago. Only available at their brew pub. Sorry, folks, you got to go there to get it. I'm sure the stampede for this is, get your
Chicago
reservations in early.
Which had 9 deaths this past Memorial Day weekend. Yeah, I'm surefire just going to book a flight right now.
I'm going to duck the crossfire in order to get in there and eat my bug beer. But it comes in a bottle, and they actually have one of the bugs floating at the top of it inside. I mean, what the hell are you doing?
So, do they process the cicadas before brewing, or is it just that they throw the bugs into the beer after it's done?
I have to believe it's part of the wort. I mean, they are.
See, this is why I have an issue. I am not opposed to eating bugs. I will put that right out there because I have eaten bugs, but there's a specific way that you have to eat insects. You have to break the thorax off, and you should not ingest the exoskeleton. The exoskeleton of a lot of insects and a lot of shellfish has a polysaccharin called chitin, and our bodies cannot digest it. So in small quantities, you can get away with eating it. That's fine. But if it's a constant consumption, like if you're using cricket flour every day to make your bread and you consume this bread every day, eventually it will collect in your body and your body cannot get rid of it, and it will cause a lot of distress. So
would this
that's
also
why
apply
I'm asking.
Would this apply to crayfish as well?
Yes, which is why they tell you when you're eating crayfish, you just basically you suck head and eat ass. That means you take out the meat from the bottom part and you eat the cranial area where all of that wonderful spicy
they always tell you to
fats
suck
are
your
collected.
head.
Yes, you suck head and eat ass. I love saying that.
It's one thing I don't do. I'm not fond of the head sucking aspect, but what I do is instead, I pry open the head like a funny car almost, where it pops open, and then I rake the gills because they end up collecting a lot of the hot sauce.
Yeah, they do. So
I'll
a
get the
friend of
meat
mine
in my
just
mouth,
squeezes
and then
it
I'll
out.
pop the head, and I'll sit there and just scrape it with my teeth, and you get some little extra spice involved there, and that's the way I devour it. But yeah, as far as brewing beer with these insects, what in the living hell are you doing? And this is the part that cracks me up. They say their warning has nothing to do with kite. It just says, if you're not allergic to shellfish, you're invited to try the new styling from Lombard Brewing. And I'm just at a loss. This is what they actually say. The lobster-like flavor sensation. Stop right there. Okay, I'm sure it brings a flavor reminiscent of succulent lobster to the insanely delicious concoction. No, it doesn't. No. I mean, I enjoy lobster. I enjoy shellfish. I don't want it in my beer. Okay.
I will take a picture of one of my favorite T-shirts a friend of mine designed, and I bought from his Zazzle store. This was years and years ago. It's called Tenement Lobster, and it's a picture of a cockroach.
Yeah.
It is. I wear this, and people just give me the weirdest looks, and well deserved. Obviously, well deserved. But it's not until they read what it says that they understand. But yeah, lobsters, cockroaches, yeah, they're on the same.
Well, we made
level.
Our friend Andrew is big on the crab rangoon, and I don't know, it was around Easter time or something. I just went on one of the AI sites, and I concocted a crab rangoon beer as a joke. Not that I want that. Thank you very much, but hold on for just a moment.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi. How are you today? Did you have a
How
fun
are
day?
you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm so happy to hear you.
She doesn't have the earphones, so she can't hear you. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm doing a show right now. We'll do it tomorrow. How about that?
Yes. Tell her we can talk tomorrow.
And she said, "Tell her I love her."
Oh,
so I mollified her with that. Now we're obligated for tomorrow, so clear your schedule.
Yeah.
I don't have Chicagoland beer is making something with bugs in it. You dumb sons of bitch. They even have a shot of one, like in a shot glass with the damn bug floating in it. Stop it.
And I bet you all of the hipsters will be like, yeah, this is like the coolest thing. I want to, I'm all for sustainability and blah, 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 but none of them will drink it. They'll just pose with it.
Oh, you haven't had cicada beer yet? Oh, well, okay. But, we're all about that. So I don't know where you've been. This is just our thing now. And you're not going to have it for 17 years. So just guess what? You won't be able to tell people you had it. Well, two things. I could tell people I've had it, but secondly, if that were the case, I wouldn't brag about it.
Yeah, this is not something. I mean, like I said, I've eaten insects before. They have to be prepared a certain way, and cicadas are not a popular insect because they only pop out after a dozen years or whatever, and so you cannot really depend.
There's a couple species, like one's 17-year cycle, and the other's a 13-year cycle.
13,
something like
one's
that.
17 and one's 13.
Because we just had it, 3 or 4 years ago. I know there was an infestation or whatever you call it, swarming. But yeah thanks. I mean, I don't need this in my brew. Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay. Not in the.
I mean, I've tried some exotics before and some unique flavor pairings and things of that nature. It's like, okay, I can see what you're doing. All right, yeah, you're going. It's like I can draw the line here. I don't need lobsters or cicadas.
I'm sure somebody is going to come up to you and say, "Well, mezcal has a worm." They'll erroneously say tequila, but it's not tequila that has the worm. It's mezcal. And I will look at them and say, I don't drink that shit either.
Yeah, it's. I always enjoyed that too. Like back in the day when everybody was feeling their roads, and you're just like, "Oh, you're a pussy, you don't drink tequila." It's like, no, it tastes like ass. Okay, it's got the exact same amount of alcohol as rum. I'll go shot for shot with you, champ. Let's do it. But the difference is, mine actually has flavor. So does mine. It was like, yeah, it's like battery acid and an old gym shoe combined. That's what yours tastes
Probably.
like.
Yeah. I'm not.
My
not
liquor is made out of a sugar cane. Yours is made out of a cactus. How about that? Let's poll the room and see what people would rather chew on.
This is what a lot of people miss. I mean, sugarcane is like from the gods.
Mm-hmm. And it's
agave?
pretty damn easy.
No, not really.
Rum is like not all that involved either. You press the stalks and get the pure sugar out of it, and then you process it into molasses. Get that going, and there you go. You got rum. To make tequila is I've researched like what they go through. I'm trying to figure out who in the living hell figured this out. Because you got to chop the limbs off the thing. You got to dig up like basically the heart of it.
Yes. Yeah.
At a certain point, you have to scrape the meat out. There's a burning process involved. And this is all before you get the raw material to actually distill something. It's like, were you guys just bored? I mean, I understand you're in the middle of the desert in Mexico, but still, what the... Like, they tried to do something with this and it didn't work. Well, let's scrape out the guts and use that. Yeah, that didn't really work either. Okay, let's set it on fire first and then scrape out the guts. And all the while, rum is available. Just go with the rum. That's the part I don't get. But, Kay, I was actually laughing the other night. The wife, she was cycling through Pluto TV and settled on a mini marathon of Charlie's Angels. Like literally from the 70s. It was like,
from the 70s and 80s? Okay.
Yeah. And I'm reading and I'm doing some work and other stuff in the living room. So I say, I got to knock your stuff. I don't care. I'm not watching. And then, the next episode comes on and she's like, starts tapping me on the shoulder. She's like, oh. Like, what? Look at the title. And she backs it up. Moonshine Angels. Well, you got Brad's attention. What's going on here? What is this? They are literally going into the backwoods of somewhere. I don't know. It can't be California, but even though that's where they're situated. But they actually got involved in like a Hatfield McCoy kind of thing.
Oh, I remember that episode. Yeah.
I think Julie was going to be the driver. And they just like walk up on the property. And the hayseeds are like, you're in the wrong place. You weren't invited. I'm going to shoot you full of buckshot. Hey, I'm here. You're looking for a driver and such. And then the guy just like, yeah, maybe. All right, hop in. She takes the wheel of his car. Doesn't even know her name yet. She's tearing badass around the place, doing donuts and proving she's a driver. Okay, Missy, you're my driver. Then the other one goes to the other plantation and says, I learned to do moonshine in college, sir. And he hires her like on the spot. It was like, well, hang on. When did any of the Charlie's Angels learn distilling?
They didn't. They went to police academy and became meter maids. That was the whole point.
But now here she is. And damn it, sissy, if you ain't making some of the best shine we ever had in these parts. I'm just sitting there on the sofa. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit. This girl ain't never touched shine, let alone made it. And now all of a sudden she's oh man, and back 40 ain't no one ever producing stuff this good. I was laughing the entire episode. Didn't get a thing done for 40 minutes. It was hilarious. But I can't be too critical though, because I went on my own Fall Guy marathon on Memorial Day.
Yeah. I heard about that.
I'm just like sitting there like, well, because I'm actually kind of eager to see the new movie that just came out. And boy, you want to talk about screwing the pooch, Hollywood. Holy shit. They have yet to have a big summer movie come out. Like, it ain't happening. It's like Fall Guy. There was so much advanced word, and it was in theaters and movie film festivals, I'm trying to say. And the advance, oh man, this thing's great. It's so much fun. It's just this, it's that, and the stunts are just out of control, and everybody's raving about it. Nobody really went to see it. This weekend, Furiosa came out, the new Mad Max version, and everybody was just giddy for this for months on end. Nobody showed up again, and I still want to see it, though, and it just looks cool. So I was like, F it. I want to see Lee Majors, not act, because he can't, but every episode has like 2 or 3 good stunts in it. And what cracked me up was me and Paul just did the Roger Corman movie, Thunder and Lightning. Sure enough, one of the stunts from that movie was in the Fall Guy episode. It's like, you stole that from Corman. Actually, I'm sure they bought the rights to use that footage, and the rights probably cost more than the movie grossed for Roger Corman, so he was all about it. But
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
No,
God love him.
The show cracks me up. About every 3 or 4 episodes, Heather Thomas has to be in a bikini. I'm all about it. Then there was one where both her and Marky Post in different scenes were in bikinis. All about it. So,
and I gotta say, of the 2, Marky Post was the one with the body.
In later years, I'll say.
Stick around.
I believe she augmented, because in season 2 she was in one, and I've seen her more voluptuous than she was on camera for that episode, I'll say.
She was also the nicer one of the 2 in real life.
I don't know.
I'm just going to leave it there.
Heather Thomas was a dish. I'm just saying. That was on my wall for a couple years.
Whatever. I judge not.
Well, I mean, it's more a deal like, party with Heather, go home with Marky. It was one of those.
Yeah.
Kind of the way it works.
Totally.
How's that?
Totally get that. Yeah. Totally get that. No, seriously, they were eye candy. Gotta give them props. But if I had to choose the one with body, it would have to be Marky Post.
All right, I can go either way. It's not like you'd lose. There's not a bad choice. How about that? But yeah,
did you really just say did you really just say you could go either way? Because that's kind of a giggity moment. I'm just saying.
No, you couldn't lose with either one of the 2 ladies.
Either choice is what I meant there.
I stand by where my brain went. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's I'm not going to be accountable for what goes on in your brain. Just saying.
Wise choice.
I'm just going to sit here and drink. Just going to drink. Okay.
So, yeah, the bugbear in Chicago, y'all can keep it. No interest here. Sorry, not going.
This is one of those kitschy things that, for some reason, I don't quite understand. Whenever anybody tries to do something kitschy, they don't read the room. They really don't. Very few kitschy attempts, of this magnitude actually take off. Some do, but those are the people that actually see the incoming trends. They go and see what people are watching, what people are downloading, what people are renting from Redbox, that kind of thing. The way they speak on social media, that kind of thing. And they take a chance, and most of the time that will actually be a success. But they're really not reading any rooms, because everybody and their dogs have said no to bugs.
Yeah, but I really think it's just a desperate ploy where it's like, well, nobody else is making beer out of this. And instead of taking that as a cue, that becomes their inspiration. Hey, we should make a bug beer. Okay. Like, how do you know if it goes bad or anything?
I don't think you can tell if it goes bad, honestly.
When I was at Budweiser, that was a tell. You ever say, how do we get rid of these barflies? They're always all over the place. It's like, well, try cleaning. throw that out there on step one. But,
So
yeah, it's just you can sit there and say, like, fly landed in my drink. And your cicada beer did it?
oh God,
I guess we're gonna have to charge
people.
extra. I don't know what the answer is for that one.
It just this kind of reminds me of that episode of Bullshit with Penn and Teller about the water. Do you remember that episode? That they said this purified water crap. People will believe anything. You don't know where the water comes from. You don't know how the purity level of the water. And so they tested it out at a restaurant where.
Oh yeah, I did see that one.
Remember the waiter would come out with bottled water, and one of them had a spider in it because it was water from the Amazon, okay, the Amazon River, and the spider actually added certain it enhanced the flavor and added some kind of not minerals but vitamins or something, something
detoxifying probiotics.
Yes,
that its enzymes would contribute.
And he would ask, "Would you like to try it?" And people would say yes. And guess what? Every single bottle that they had to try, they filled from the tap outside of the restaurant. So it was, they were there to show that it was a complete sham. And this is kind of reminding me of this. Like, I'm like, so you're gonna just brew regular beer and going to throw bugs in it and say, hey, would you like to try our new blah, 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 that kind and people will fall for it because of that.
Well,
they want to say
one
that they
brand,
were the first ones.
Dasani waters from Coca-Cola.
Yes.
It comes from the New York aquifer.
Mm-hmm.
Like New York City. They run it through like a coal filtration or something like it, but that's what it is. It's municipal water.
Yep.
And in fact, there was a branded Budweiser they tried to BS us through. I forget what even it was called. It was supposedly a water made from glaciers, and they collected each spring as the glaciers are melting. And it's the purest form known to man. And they even tried to say that the top of the bottle was kind of shaped almost like ice in a fashion.
Stop.
And every single bottle is distinct and different from each other. This is like all the sales tactics they were telling. And I'm sitting there, going through a case, and it took me like 30 seconds to find two bottles that were identical. It's like, well, that's bullshit. How much of the other sales pitch is on point? Any of it?
Yeah, it's sad. But,
But they do the same thing with vodka, too. It's like, ours is distilled 8 times. Well, ours is distilled 14 times.
Yeah, after a while, the distillation doesn't matter.
At some point, you're stripping flavor away is what you're doing.
Yeah, Mike said that his wife, Barb, actually filters her vodka through a Brita filter. And it does taste better. I tried it. It actually makes it smoother. So, be that as it may, it's great. Just don't confuse your Brita pitcher for the water pitcher. That would be bad. Or good. Who knows?
Yeah, kids are kind of drowsy today. I can't figure it out. But for segue here, any of this stuff might be preferable and even required based on what we're seeing transpiring in our government these days.
Lord.
I am enjoying the nonsensical just bullshit taking place around the New York Trump.
Oh, today was a
case.
banner day. Today was a banner day when it came to the Trump court case in New York.
The Biden campaign dispatched their own people to Manhattan with special guests.
Yeah.
Here I am trying to figure out why I'm supposed to give a rat's ass. For a couple of reasons. One, don't care. Oh, wow. Oh, the Trump people are showing up. Gee, let me do anything else. And they had a couple of their guests were the police officers from January 6th. Why? They have absolutely zero bearing or anything to do with this court case
No.
of the money going to Stormy Daniels before the election in
I
2015.
know. I'm like, why are those people there? Oh,
They
I'm
had
like,
nothing about the case involves January 6th.
No,
at all.
nothing. And yet they were there. And so was, of all people, Robert De Niro.
Actor
and I'm
Robert
like,
De Niro took to the microphone to comment about the Trump case or about Trump.
it was the most, I honestly thought that I was being punked until I saw, oh no, this is CNN. CNN is actually covering this.
First off, as soon as I see Robert De Niro, I was like, why? Pops right in my head. Why? What bearing does this idiot, this monosyllabic New Yorker, have to do with this court case? Nothing. So there he is, barking and moaning, and authoritarianism and becoming a Nazi, and this son of a bitch can't be president. Geez, sounds like the same thing you've been talking about for the last 4 years, Robert De Niro.
It has been. And what I found interesting was that he admitted to agreeing to work for the Biden administration. He literally said those words. And I'm like,
well,
if he said that, that means he's getting paid. And I'm like, why would a man of De Niro's stature, do this? It was boggling my head. I just can't make it work. But what I found really interesting was that he had a prepared speech, but kept deviating from that speech. And
Bobby is not the best reader. I've seen him at award ceremonies and such where he has to read off a teleprompter, and he comes off sounding really ignorant.
Yeah,
Not he doesn't know what he's talking about, but like he doesn't know how to talk. Like he's that bad at reading.
He is. This is a man who makes his living from memorizing things, and his delivery, all that stuff. This is a man that has honed that craft for many, many years. So to see him acting in such a manner to the point where, even when he was reading, he was kind of flubbing it, and then he would just go off script and start talking about something else. I was like, he didn't write that script. Somebody gave it to him. Somebody pre-wrote it and gave it to him, and he did not prepare.
And somebody heckled him, and he starts cursing at that guy. And
that was beautiful.
Fabulous look here for the Bidens.
The setting. He's out there, and he's talking in the middle of the street, and he's surrounded by these jerks from J6. I don't know what they were doing there. And he's just talking and just going off script and everything. And suddenly a car alarm goes off. And he's like, what the hell? He's looking around like, what? But then he kept going. To give him credit, he kept going with his little spiel. And nobody was turning off the car. They weren't going to go see. Nobody went to, at least muffle it or, whatever. And so this guy starts to heckle him. And he's wearing a MAGA hat, which it's even more delicious when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I honestly thought that this little circus was being controlled, but it wasn't. There was the guy, and he had a MAGA hat. He was able to get close enough to heckle De Niro. And De Niro got pissed.
That was the beautiful part, though. What
he completely went off script, forgot about the script actually, and started.
He turned New York in a heartbeat and was like,
"Oh, it was.
Shut up, Robert De Niro. Nobody cares. Let me tell you something, you piece of shit, son of a bitch."
So
it was like that bad.
After he finished his speech, he's walking away, and the guy's still heckling him. You're trash. You're this. You're that. And De Niro's telling him, "Fuck you." And I'm like, "Oh my God, this is so beautiful. I can't." It was so awesome to watch this complete meltdown. And I'm like, is the administration this desperate? Yes, they are this desperate.
It's the administration, it's the media, and it's anybody remotely attached to things. They are in absolute panic fire mode right now. Everything they're saying about Donald Trump it's like Donald Trump is worse than
But
the
my
worst
question
Bond
is,
villain you could come up with.
there are plenty
On a-
of very liberal actors and actresses that would have done a better job. Hell, I can think of at least 5, to include Heather Thomas, by the way. I'm just going to besmirch her a little bit. I'm a little jealous of that bitch. But anyway, she still looks great, though. I'll give her that. She still looks great. But, you know, you could have gotten, what's his name? Chris Evans. He is very much pro-Biden. He's very liberal. But he speaks well. And he would have been a really good one to deliver, you know, whatever message it was. Why pick on a guy that's, you know, like, he can't stay on script. I mean,
here's the thing,
after
too.
watching this, I'm wondering how it is that he manages to get any shit done when he's working. And I don't know how he got an Academy Award because, frankly, I mean, it was awful.
De Niro is totally handled. I mean, this guy's got an entourage. They were shooting Analyze This down in Fort Lauderdale. And they were using the hotel I worked at for a time, too. And never saw him. I wasn't involved in the shooting at all, but like, you know, their handlers would come up and stuff and say things like, yeah, I want to get a plate of figs cut in half without the seed. And people are like, really? Why you want it? Because Bobby wants it that way. Okay. Huh? You know, literally, these are the guys he surrounds himself with. So
I know
it's beyond yes men. It's like, absolutely, Bobby, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and
he was just on with, I think it was Stephanie Rule, like about 4 weeks ago.
Yes.
And he's like, let me tell you something. Donald Trump is going to ruin his country. The whole place is going to be a mushroom cloud. It's all going to die. And then she's like, wow, this is so brave of you, Robert, to come out and to, you're taking such a risk here. Are you worried? What risk? The guy's in his 70s. His career's established. He's rich as hell. Plus, he's been given this same interview speech for the last 4 or 5 years minimum. All right. He hates Donald Trump. Got it. He's the worst guy on the planet. Going to kill the state and everything else involved with it. Got it. Oh, and he's a fucking retard. Hey, Trump sucks. You know what I'm saying? And people are just like, oh, my gosh, he's so brave.
Actually, he's 80.
Okay.
Yeah, he's 80.
He still talks like he's 21 on the Jersey Shore. You know, it's just...
He'll be 81 in August.
So Robert De Niro still hates Donald Trump after 6 years. Okay, shocker. Ooh, how about that? How brave of him.
I know. I'm like, this is not news to anybody. I don't understand why you think this is...
The least brave thing you could possibly do on the planet is to be from Hollywood and say you don't like Donald Trump. Okay, that's like their password into every club in Los Angeles.
I mean, his entire spiel was about how this was such a threat to the country, and if Trump wins, you know, we'll have, you know. Oh, and he called Trump supporters a bunch of clowns. He did that, and he said that Trump would be a dictator for life, and I'm like, sure. Okay.
All this means is De Niro's been watching MSNBC because I hear that on every single damn show daily there. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's just to the point where their hysteria has gotten so out of control that I think they're either, I can't say they believe they're nightmares because they're just so outlandish, but
they have to.
They're at 11 right now and they just can't go higher. So they just think 11 and louder will go. Every single show, Trump's going to kill us. Journalism's going to disappear. We won't have elections anymore. Democracy is going to be gone. He's going to put people in jail and kill them. He's going to arrest your children. He's going to.
I'm like, you
literally,
realize we had him for 4 years, and this didn't happen. For those 4 years, they kept claiming that he was a dictator. It didn't happen.
They
Meanwhile,
say this.
We have an administration that's actually acting in a dictatorial manner with this particular case.
Well, I mean,
and it's okay.
They're prosecuting a guy running for president. They're trying to, and the funny thing is, they've had 3 states now try to kick Trump off the ballot, and the press is like, "Oh, yes. This is deeply important. This kind of thing needs to happen." Meanwhile, in Ohio, have you seen what's going on there?
Yes.
the
Apparently, the
Democrat
Biden
Party
administration
has
forgot.
screwed themselves sideways because their national Democratic convention is taking place so late that it appears after the Ohio primary, meaning they can't declare their candidate before the Ohio primary. So Joe Biden will not be on the ballot, not because they're kicking him off, not because of any kind of activist movement by the Republicans. It's because the Democrats were incompetent assholes and didn't do this proper. And everybody's screaming at the Republicans in Ohio. And I can only say this. One, it's a red state.
Mm-hmm.
Like the legislature is both sides of it, super majority Republican. He's polling at like 10% below Donald Trump. Put him on the ballot. It's not going to make a damn difference. Okay. And that's what I love to see people saying things like, oh, the Republicans are just scared to death. They have to kick Biden off. No, Democrats did that, you dumbass. And nobody's scared because he's not going to win. Put him on the ballot. It's not going to make a difference. But they've done it to themselves. And this hasn't been anything concocted like they tried in Colorado and Maine. And I forget what the third state is. But they're like, oh, but we don't like
Colorado,
you.
Maine, and Ohio. No, not Ohio. Colorado, Maine.
Let's say Minnesota.
Yeah, it's one of them white states. As in snow, people. I'm not being racist.
Yeah, oh, those people. But that's the funny thing. It's like they're actively trying to get rid of Donald Trump on ballots, and that's all acceptable. But the Democrats doing it to themselves is like, this is Armageddon, this is dictatorial authoritarianism, and dumb shits. That's the amusing part of all this. And now we've got this flag controversy going on with Justice Alito.
I mean,
this cracks me up so much. I want this story to go on for months.
I think I actually commented to your post about it with a screenshot from a Wikipedia page that showed that flag being used at a BLM protest.
Yeah, 2020.
Okay. Yeah.
Not only that, so far I've compiled 4 state capitals where this is flown. Minnesota, Massachusetts, where it originates, by the way, the Commonwealth that developed this flag 250 years ago, by the way. Mississippi and Arizona had it, I think, like inside the Capitol, like they had a flag, like historical flag.
What I find interesting is now that they're saying that this flag is associated with insurrection, with white nationalism, with and I'm like, you realize that they carry the American flag too. You realize that what you're saying is whatever they carry is associated with them. What does that say about Old Glory?
Well,
every time I've asked it, I get no response.
This is how you know it is complete garbage, horseshit, and contrived. There's two things going on with Alito involving flags, by the way. If you haven't been keeping up, one, he had the American flag displayed upside down outside of his home at one point. Gasp!
And there was a reason for that. There were
the second one is the. Yeah, we'll get into that in just a second. The second one was the Appeal to Heaven flag flown at his New Jersey vacation home. Gasp. The first time, as you said, it wasn't because he's boldly flying this outside of his home in support of. Somebody said that this was a definitive Stop the Steal support.
No. It had
his neighbors were giving him and his wife a bunch of crap. They were posting yard signs and they were pointed at not at the street, but at his house. Like, hey, Donald Trump's a fucking new dart, something like that.
They were being extremely hostile. There were hostile words exchanged, and she called the cops, and the cops said, she told him, you can identify my house as being the one flying the U.S. flag upside down. It was an identification marker. It didn't stay up for a very long period of time. It was taken down that same day. But
3 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
3 years ago this happened. January of 21. Nobody said word one about this for 3 years. The Washington Post went to their house in January of 2021 to find out, excuse me, Mr. Alito, what's going on with this? I understand that there was a flag flown upside down outside your home. Care to comment? Yeah, I'll comment. Get the hell off my lawn. Was basically what they said. But then they explained it to him. It was like, nah, you just got the asshole next door to me. We got a beef with him. It's, it was neighborhood gripe fest going on with each other. And Washington Post, their guy came back to the paper and they decided there's no story here. And this is where it even turns funnier today. Ben Smith over at Semaphore, he contacted the Washington Post and spoke with the editors. He was like, so what went on with this decision anyway? How come you guys didn't run that story? And it's like, well, there wasn't one. And we had a consensus on the editorial staff. We all got together and they all said the same thing. No story. A journalism professor got all up in Ben Smith's grill. This was completely irresponsible of the Washington Post. They should have reported on this. It would have stopped the Saab's decision. All kinds of other things would not have happened. And Ben Smith is irresponsible for not holding their feet to the fire. This is, again, journalism school professor saying this. Wanting activist media. Like, they were required to do this to stop the abortion ruling. And Ben Smith was required to scorch the Washington Post for not being activists instead of being journalists. It's like, you're a freaking... No wonder the media is so screwed up. These are the assholes teaching the kids how to be journalists.
Yeah.
And Ben Smith's like, I asked them questions. They gave me answers. I reported on their answers to my questions. That's it's like, what do you... Literally, this guy was saying he should have gone much further.
Yeah.
And this is why everything is so screwed up in the press, that they are losing their ass.
It's to the point where even, opinion columns are just that, the opinions of certain writers, they get together, they put an opinion column or whatever, and they, you saw the one from Politico. That was, the Dems are freaking out over the election. And
which can be translated this way: the Politico editorial staff is freaking out about the election.
Pretty much. And you read it and you realize it's not an active hit against the Democratic Party at all. As a matter of fact, what they're trying to do is trying to underline the frustrations that Democratic activists in the administration are having to deal with because of Biden, because of the fact that people are not buying into this whole economy is doing great. People are not buying into the whole crime is down. There was, I want to say his last name is Levine or something like that, but he actually tweeted something out and he was quoting the article, it's not about Mitt Romney might win the president this time. It's democracy might end. And I'm like, yeah, I'm okay with that, actually, because I don't want democracy. Nobody wants democracy. The whole reason for the founding of this country was to avoid democracy, because democracy always fails. And anybody who has read Greek history or Roman history and European history knows this. Democracy always fails.
You see, Aggie, your nuance has no place in this discussion when
Apparently
the entire country's about to die and be poured into a smoldering vat of magma.
But this is a constant lie that is pushed by the left, telling us that we need to save democracy. We do not need to save democracy. Democracy does not exist, no matter how hard they try to push it in this country, and no matter how hard they try to finagle it. Democracy does not exist in this country. And that's why they want to do away with the electoral college when it comes to the presidential election, which, by the way, it only during the presidential election is that used. But they make it seem like everybody uses it for every single election, and that's not true. And you have them trying to change these things, and all because they want to save democracy. Democracy now, democracy this, democracy that. Democracy sucks. It sucks.
Well, see, this is the thing that exposes them too, because there's two primary arguments coming from them right now that you hear frequently. That is, we have to get rid of the electoral college. It's just unfair, and so is the Senate because it's imbalanced. And this is like civics ignorance on blatant display, because both are set up for a specific reason, and that is to honor that we're a republic, that the states have 50 individual voices. That's what the Senate's all about.
It never
but it's not fair because more people in California than there are in South Dakota, and South Dakota has the same voice. It's like, yes, welcome to federalism, you dumb shit. Also, by the way, if you want to be representative on population, look at the House of Representatives. You dumb shit.
We have a bicameral legislature. And the 17th Amendment actually took away the power from the states.
Okay, your use of that term is offensive and triggering, and I don't care for it.
What, amendment?
Bicameral. I find that to be like...
Actually, there's only one state in the union that has a unicameral legislature. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yes, Utah.
Which, really now?
Yeah, I believe Utah is the only one with a unicameral legislature.
What them Mormons freak do?
Yeah, I don't know.
Kidding. If you're a Mormon,
but here's the thing. You have, they keep pushing this, democracy dies in the Senate for a good fucking reason. Okay. There's a reason it dies in the Senate, because it doesn't belong there. There's a reason why everybody gets two senators. And
try explaining this to people too. And it's just like, okay, we're not a democracy. Okay, but you still vote that way, and it's still popular vote within the states, and that's democratic. It's like, all right, the process can be described as democratic, but it's not a popularity contest. Okay, this is done for a reason, because that's how the country was built, and that's, by the way, how we became a superpower. So by all means, let's screw with that.
Well, I mean, you and I, when we went to school, and contemporaries of ours in the chat will actually confirm this, when we learned government in high school, civics in high school, we learned that the Senate represented the states. Yeah. And I was rather stunned to learn when I was reviewing the history books, that history book where I found an entire chapter for what's his name, Malcolm X, and a paragraph for Lincoln. Yeah, that one. So I also saw that the Senate was not featured as a state representative. They lumped the senators and the representatives in the same class. And I actually got into a small altercation with my kid, who was a history major, about it. Because I told her, there's a reason the 17th Amendment exists, and there's a reason some of us want it repealed. And she's like, I don't understand. I said, well, then go look it up. I'm not going to be your Wikipedia. I was really mad that day. I was really upset. But she looked it up, and yeah, she was like, this is not what we were taught. This is not even what we're being taught right now in college. And I'm like, this is why. And I said, this is why they keep pushing democracy, and why democracy is not a good thing. I said, you're a history major. I want you to go find me a democracy that is still going on in the world. Just go find me one.
Well, I think the prime example, what is it? They say France is a true democracy. And since the forming of
Yeah.
our country, haven't they gone through like 7 or 8 different forms of government because they keep failing because the people keep wanting something, then later
Yes.
going, we kind of really don't like that after all.
Italy is even a better example of that. Italy has gone through, I think, at the last count, 70 different types of government in the past 120 years since 1900. It has been absolutely ridiculous. And I keep telling her, if you want that, then by all means go live in a democracy. But she just cannot see it. And I said, every single one of these has one thing lacking that we have here, and that's the First Amendment. Every single one. And she, there was a time that she thought that was standard throughout the world. A lot of kids think that. As a matter of fact, a lot of college kids do think that currently, that is standard. And I was discussing this with a friend of mine. He's currently residing elsewhere in the world, but we were discussing the fact that, once you leave the States, you no longer enjoy the freedoms and the rights as an American citizen. And, and he said, I have to be very careful. I cannot go on social media here because the police do monitor. And if you get flagged by someone, the police will come to your door and ask you about your social media status.
Yeah, and this is also, that's a practice that they're encouraging more often in this country, and that is ratting out your neighbors, turning them in if somebody does something objectionable, that kind of crap. That is what built the Weimar Republic.
Yeah, that's how it started. And
like they keep saying, the stuff going on with Trump right now is so emblematic. It's like, no, it's not. It's actually the behavior of people is what led to it, because they were either fearful or they wanted that. And this is why we have so much permissiveness on college campuses for anti-Semitism when, I kind of recall the press just a couple of years ago. That was like their big touch point. Oh, anti-Semitic. He's horrible. It's like, okay, it's exploded under Joe Biden, though. That's one primary reason they're not criticizing it, because they won't let that reflect on him. Oh no. So there were 3 or 4 instances they could point to in 4 years of Donald Trump. See, told you, 8 guys in Orlando are waving a Nazi flag. Okay.
Yeah, we were there.
Go kick him in the teeth. I mean, gives a rat's ass. But now 700 kids on a college campus could say, kill the Jews, march from the river to the sea. And everyone's like, First Amendment rights. We should respect that.
Oh, yeah, it's okay. This is okay for a First Amendment right. And I'm like, you're the same people that told me there were limits on First Amendment rights. So calling for complete genocide, I'm thinking there's a limit on that.
Yeah, whatever happened to hate crime? I thought that was the big thing.
Yeah, hate crime, hate speech. What happened to that? Where did that go?
What happened to safe spaces on campuses? Well, they're Jewish. They shouldn't really be safe after all. They're Zionists,
It has
take away the blue crayons too, so they can't express themselves in the safe room. I mean,
yeah,
that's the part that cracks me up, and this whole flag thing going on with Alito. It's just, these are the people that hector us all the time about misinformation. And this entire episode is misinformation. The claim that the appeal to heaven flag is January 6th. This is clear symbolism for anarchy and the Capitol 6 riot, January 6th. They were saying, somebody said that this was a Stop the Steal flag. Here's the bullshit. I wrote about it this weekend. In 2021, CNN did an exhaustive study of all of the footage, security cams, cell phone images, everything else they could, calling every example of symbols they could find on flags, people's hats, emblems on their jersey or that they wore, body cam stuff that they could see. And they were compiling all these things and what they meant, what that group represented, and how that group was tied into January 6th. Nowhere in this study did that flag come up.
Nope.
And another outlet did the exact same thing. The New York Times.
The
New York Times being the same outlet that discovered the flag at Alito's house last summer.
Yes.
So they're now saying, oh, this is definitely January 6th stuff. It's like, not according to your own paper. but now suddenly, oh, everybody knows it. Oh, it's, obviously, this is totally January 6th. It's like, this came from George Washington. This is pre-Declaration of Independence.
This is why, in a way, the internet has been a godsend, because it is really difficult to gaslight somebody now. We can go, there's a lot of archiving that has been done, and we can search and we can find these things now. And it's, they really try they rely on people to just take the headline at its word. They don't expect you to click on things. They don't expect you to do your own diligence, because they honestly feel that public education has beaten it out of kids. So,
well, the thing is, they fell into this practice, I want to say maybe 10, 15 years ago, where they could spit out these headlines. And over the years, I've seen numerous times where there'd be a headline and the body of the article is completely different. And we see it more often now with the fact checkers. They'll. Mm-hmm. Who was the last one? It was one that cracked me. Marco Rubio came out and dared to say, like Joe Biden came out and claimed that inflation had fallen to 3%. And he said, well, no, when you compound the inflation, it's actually at 19%. And Politico came out and said, that's mostly false. And then went on to explain that inflation is actually at 19%.
Yes.
But see, the difference is wages have kept pace with it. So it's just the same. But here's where, and they weren't counting on somebody like myself reading through their entire bullshit article. They're counting 3 years of inflation, but 4 years of wages to come up with this formula.
Mm-hmm.
The 4 years of wages would include our recovery coming out of the pandemic. So when people started to go back to work and wages basically went up 100% because they were starting to get paid again, they used that to counterbalance the Joe Biden inflation. So 1 year of wages from Donald Trump are added into Joe Biden's term to come up with this. That's the kind of crap they spit out. So people will say, oh, no, see, wages are just the same. It's like, are they?
Are they now? Are they really?
But that's why I love my job, is because I actually do research in journalism, and that pisses off the journalists. Like at Politico, they say what I did is, that's an attack on our people. People criticize us and dare to suggest that our information's misleading, and this is an attack on our and the facts are an attack at PolitiFact.
Well, they're firefighters. They can, shrug that shit off.
I just love it. I mean, there's a point of me, like, I feel like in the back of my head, I'm supposed to be like pissed off and frustrated with this stuff, but I crack up and enjoy exposing this idiocy so much. Because they lord this over us. Pardon me, I'm a journalist here. Let me step aside to explain to see what's really happening. Pardon, one side, please. Journalist coming through. And they act like that is, excuse me, I'm a journalist. My word is gold. No, actually, it's not, because gold
actually, it's trash.
So yeah, they pull this kind of crap, and all I can do is just laugh. The people that hate misinformation are pretty damn good at it. That's the funny part. Well, I wanted to.
Isn't it
we should
funny
maybe-
that we have so many fact checkers and now we have misinformation everywhere?
Yeah, it seems like every single day more fact checkers come up, more fact-based media analyst sites crop up, and yet misinformation is proliferating, they say.
Yeah.
You guys really suck at your job then.
Yeah, they do.
Somehow it's like, we're going to add 700 more cops to the city, and then crime shoots up by 40%. There might be a correlation here. I'm trying to figure out. More people are going at this, and yet the information is getting worse. But there are a couple of stories I find that are uplifting and mirth-filled. Because in my studies and my research, I also compile stories of this nature. Dateline Canada. Yeah.
I'm sorry, your delivery was great.
Well, it's like I like to check in on my Canadian brethren up north of us. I'd like to see what's going on in Canada. So let's see.
What was it that I think Rick calls it Syrupistan or something like that?
Works for me.
It's so great.
Linda Larmers was walking her dog in the Ibex Valley. This is roughly 20 kilometers west of Whitehorse for you people, if you're wondering where that was. But she's walking her dog, and her little hound started to get particularly agitated and excited. He was onto something. He was on the case, smelled something, and as she's walking through the woods in this suburb area, apparently a wayward poultry maestro decided to offset some of the prepared goods, let's say. Her dog, Aussie, picked up on the scent, and the two together discovered an area where over 40 rotisserie chickens had been dumped in the woods.
I mean, there are
Questions
a lot of red
abound.
flags. a lot of them.
I mean, just all kind. They said that this was roughly 500 meters away from the homes in the development. There was concern that such a landmark pile of foodstuffs left in the woods would attract bears and other things. What in the living hell is going on? Like 4 dozen rotisserie chickens are just arbitrarily dumped in the woods. Like,
I'm trying to make that work in my head, because normally if food's about to expire and you have rotisserie, you can find a place to donate it to, or massive reduction sale, so that people can eat it that night before, expiration date or whatever. But normally it's like 3, maybe 5. It's never 40.
The only thing I can figure out is like there might have been a grocery store where the power went out, so they were undercooked and it didn't come back on in time, and they had to dump it or something. But
that would actually make sense.
But they have dumpsters, okay? Usually that's. And the thing is this too, I've found out, and it actually makes sense. Probably blame the lawyers, but there are occasions where something like that occurs, and I've got people I know in different aspects of the food business. Like one was at a retail outlet, and their walk-in freezer shut down. So the food was starting to go bad, and they basically had to chuck it all. And people were even saying too, it's like, well, why don't you take it down to the food bank and donate it or something? They can't, because like if they went ahead and did that and something happened, like people got sick because the food spoiled or because there was something out of date, now they're on the hook. And and I think Panera and stuff like that sometimes donates day-old bread. Maybe there's not a lot of risk involved there as much, but Yeah, for the most part, you can't. And it's not out of not wanting to, because the managers even said, hey, can we take it over? We got to, before this stuff goes bad, why don't we run it over to the soup kitchen or something like that? It was like, nope. That's why, like at Christmas time, everybody wants canned goods.
Right.
Or dry goods, because that stuff doesn't spoil, ergo, no risk. So yeah, that's the it had to be like a Costco or something like this that probably has 2 of these rotisserie ovens, because I go to Sam's Club, I'm still amazed that their chickens are only $5, because across the street where I usually shop, they've gone from like $5 to $6 up to like, I think $9.50 now. So what the hell? Thanks, Biden.
I think our local grocery store, it's still like $5.50.
Okay.
Maybe $5 sometimes. I don't buy it often enough because I just bake my own. So,
well, just for me, it's a time thing. Like sometimes we're at Hellmart and we're checking out, and it's like, you know what? I can knock out a chicken today. Let's do this. And yeah, literally, that's for me. And it's like, oh, do you guys want some too? Then we'll get another.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you do eat a lot. This is true.
Now, my family,
we have witnessed it.
There's times where I come in with a rotisserie and people like they're quietly elbowing each other. It's like, look, and sure enough, a couple hours later, there's basically a shrunken chicken carcass with no meat on it whatsoever.
That is funny.
But this one mystifies me. 40 rotisserie chickens, and so obviously there I am saying, what a waste.
I do. It's tragic when this happens.
But as we're approaching the end of our program, of course, it's time for our edification segment. As you know, I always like to elevate the minds of our listeners and bring them items on the cutting edge of our educational system and research and what the professorial types out there are investigating for the betterment of mankind. So I'd love to delve into what researchers say. The latest one, according to a study, the internet is disappearing.
The internet is disappearing.
Yes. I, of course, I see a headline like this and my mind immediately goes to, son of a bitch, the environment. Once again, global warming. Man, what doesn't it affect? But according to this, a study says almost 40% of web pages from 2013 no longer exist a decade on. So says the research.
Okay. Okay.
So what? Like GeoCities doesn't exist anymore. Oh. No wonder my Alta Vista account doesn't work anymore. 40% of the web pages from 2013 don't exist.
I mean, that just means that whatever was behind those pages, it could have moved somewhere else, or it went defunct because there was no more funding for it. I mean, I don't understand why this is a big deal.
It cracks me. Now, I've been writing for a long ass time, and there's just the other day, in fact, I was like, you know what? I wrote about something 20 years ago. I want to do like a retrospective on it. Can I pull it up? And it was like a 4 web page piece I had done. And for some damn reason, only 2 of the pages are available. Make sense of that.
No, cannot.
I can pull up page 2 and 3, and it's like, hey, at the end it says there's a link. To continue reading Brad's piece, go to page 4. You click on page 4. It's like, oops, that page doesn't exist. So you saved the middle of my article. Okay. Whatever. But yeah, that's going to I'm just going to inject something here because I'm fancying myself a techie. somebody who's online on a daily basis. I'm going to suggest that maybe there's been I'm going to come up with a round figure, a shit ton more websites created since 2013. And numerous multiple tons of pages as a result also emerging from that creation. So I understand, like, okay, sure, the 2013 web pages may not be around like they used to. The internet is not disappearing, you dumb shits.
It is not. If it were, there would be no need for smartphones.
Yes.
Let's face it. We are making applications for phones to the tune of at least 500 or 600 a day.
There's probably more apps now than there were web pages in 2013. You can't go to a damn store or check anything out online. It's like, you can access that through our app. It's like, can I just access it now? I'm not on your app. I'm on a computer. I'm on your website. Why do I need a damn app to do the damn? No, go to the app.
Drives me nuts.
So, yeah, researchers are telling us the internet's disappearing. So have fun now, kids.
I wish.
Enjoy it because the internet's going away. Climate change.
Hey, I wish that would actually, be okay with me because I still know how to use a card catalog.
Oh, do we?
I still know the Dewey Decimal System. Yes. So for this is just, this is just alarmism all over again, just to get you to click on something.
Boy, did it. Sucker than I am and sharing this information with everybody. There you go. Well, that's going to do it for me. I think we burned out our content rather well.
Yeah, we did really good tonight. And we ended in time, which is
how about that?
novel for us. So I guess we're at the top of the hour. Hey, why don't you take a breath and tell us where we can find you?
You can find more of my irascible content over at townhall.com daily, where I have my media column called Rift from the Headlines, where I tear into the press on a daily basis, as well as the front page of Red State, frequently found there, as well as my twice weekly podcast called Liable Sources. You ready for this bit of trivia? Tomorrow, putting up my episode. It's my 200th.
Whoa, no way.
Didn't even know it. Yeah, my one producer was like, "Hey, Brad, congrats on 200 episodes." Like, great. What are you talking about? No, sure. So, yeah. That's Thank you. Accolades are appreciated.
Seemed appropriate.
And if you need to hear more of me, you can hear me Thursday evening. I'm going to be here with Ordy Packard as he and I will dive into the important entertainment information on the culture shift. Alternate Thursdays, I'm here with Paul Young from ScreenRant.com, going through the dark side of Hollywood and bad movies with disasters in the making. And every Tuesday, of course, here on the Cocktail Lounge. And if you need more of me than that, and let's face it, you do, if you head over to Shitter, I am at Martini Shark. And what about you, Aggie? Where can people find more of your magnificent content?
Well, you can find me at Aggie Regan and at Aggie the Barkeep. Those are over on X. You can find me 8:30 p.m. Eastern Tuesday nights doing the Cocktail Lounge with the Ever Suave You. 8:30 p.m. Eastern Friday nights doing He Said, She Said with our awesome producer, Rick. Once a month, the last Wednesday of every month, which will be tomorrow, we do Toxic Masculinity, where the guys, G, Ordy, Rick, and Andrew get together and talk about guy issues. We host a Babe of the Month, and I usually bring the drinks. I'm not sure if I can make it tomorrow night, but I'm hoping I can. And last but not least, Jeff and I have teamed up, and we now run Spirited Books podcast on it'll be the first Monday of every month, except for next month. Next month, it'll be on June 10th, which is the second Monday. I should be home by then. And after that, it'll be the first Monday of every month. Also, Aggie time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much for joining us, you guys. It was a lot of fun tonight, and we hope you have a lovely evening.
And go raise a glass and look at the ceiling.
You're just reminding them they need to dust. That's a bad plan.